More than 75 centimeters of rain may fall in 3 days, and the floodwaters carry rich sediment down towards the sea. On the river banks, where the light penetrates most, heliconia plants grow in abundance, and they have an interesting and complex relationship with the hummingbirds. The flowers appear inside these brightly colored bracts, and each flower lasts for only 2 or 3 days. The rufous-tailed hummingbird, brilliantly colored and fiercely territorial, is so small that it can actually perch on the bracts themselves. It comes in search of nectar at the base of each flower and plays a critical role in the pollination process. At the same time, flower mites use the bird as a carrier to enable them to move on as each flower dies. The mites are transported in the bird's nasal passages and move with astonishing speed in response to the scent of a flower. The mites live inside the base of the flower and measure only about 0.5 millimeter in length. They feed on nectar and pollen among the stamens until the flower begins to wither and die. Another hummingbird, the long-tailed hermit. It's much larger than the rufous tail, but by contrast makes no territorial claims. Instead, it covers considerable distances in its search for food along the river banks. This has benefits both for the plants by extending the range of pollination and for the mites, which are dependent on the birds for transportation. But it spells only trouble for the territorial rufous tail, which will drive off anything it can that might be a threat. This includes the owl butterfly, which is just about as big as the bird. But despite the hummingbirds, owl butterflies have a crucial relationship with the heliconia. The butterflies roost during the day. Courtship and mating take place in the evening, and the eggs are always laid on the underside of heliconia leaves. This pair is mating. They also do all their feeding in the early morning and evening. The heliconia leaves first provide shelter for the owl butterfly eggs and later food for the emerging caterpillars. Once laid, the eggs are left alone and the caterpillars will have to fend for themselves. a very rare member of the spotted cat family. This is a young margay. Nocturnal hunters, margays live largely on birds, lizards and frogs, and spend most of their time in the trees. This cub is about 8 weeks old and still totally reliant on its mother for food as well as for protection. But in 4 months from now, it will be hunting for itself and entirely independent. Meanwhile, it still has a lot to learn.